A question that comes up on a regular basis to our ministry is from Christians who ask, do we have a complete memory wipe whenever we get to heaven? Do believers have no memory of anything in this world? Well, what's the Bible say? Well, it's easy to say that the Bible tells you that's not going to happen at all. Doesn't even make sense. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 8 tells us that there's the reward seat of Christ based upon your service to him in this life. If you had no memory, how would you be accountable? Or for what reason would you be rewarded if there is no accounting or even memory of this life? Or think about 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 19, when Paul specifically says that my crown of rejoicing is in seeing you at the coming of Christ. He's remembering those on earth. There's a number of passages, and so, no, we don't lose our memory. There's not a memory wipe, but there are some things we will forget. Think about it. Isaiah 65 and verse 17. God is presenting a new heaven and a new earth. And he says, the former will not be remembered. He's saying this, even the most opulent, the most gorgeous of this world is nothing compared to what you're going to see under his benevolence and his grace and his love in heaven. It's like comparing a tricycle to a Lamborghini. Oh, you're going to forget that soon enough whenever you see something this amazing. Well, also, it's kind of like this. We have a number of friends that watch this ministry, and you are sacrificing. You serve the Lord, and you do it in virtual anonymity, and many times you'll suffer. Or those that are on earth here just have a very, very hard time. And I think about this, like whenever I was little, and I probably was 12. I don't think I was 13 yet. I asked my mom. As you might know, my mom raised us. My dad abandoned us, and my mom raised us 6 little elementary kids up, in the midst of poverty and everything. And so we were all very, very close. And I said to her one time, Mom, birthing pains and the pain in delivery 6 times, that must have been brutal. And she was working at dinner whenever I had asked her that question. I kind of wandered into the kitchen, and we're just talking about things. And when I brought that up, she was still cooking and never hesitated. She says, I don't remember the pain. And I said, rolling my eyes, of course you would remember the pain. And she says, no, see, that's not the point. The point is having you. The point is having my little ones. And you just don't remember the pain. And it melted my heart. But it also reminded me, when we take a look in the scripture in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 17, when it tells us that right now, all of this suffering, it's a light affliction, and it's working toward an eternal glory. It's working towards something so much more deep and wonderful. Or, as Paul says in Romans chapter 8 and verse 18, I compare whenever I take a look at all of these things that are happening, this is nothing compared to the glory that will be in us. And that glory is in us because we are with the glorious one. Revelation chapter 21 and verse 3, we're walking with God. We're going to see his face. Revelation 22 and verse 4. Verse 5, we're going to reign with him. Everything is going to be new, as it says in Revelation 21 and verse 5. And so when we take a look at that, at the glory that's on its way, yeah, I think when somebody says, wow, and I remember as we're standing in the glory of the Lord in his kingdom, walking the new earth, and somebody says, yeah, I can remember that time I suffered. And the rest are going to say, what are you talking about? Look at the glory around here. I don't think that conversation will ever come up. With all of the promises that we read about in Revelation 21 and 22, do you think anybody is going to dwell in the past? It's like heading to Buckingham Palace and then worrying because there's a spot of gum on the road about 20 yards back. The comparison is not even there. 2 Corinthians 4:17, Romans chapter 8 and verse 18, wonderful reminders. The best and the worst on earth. No, those will be a distant memory.